It's not often that ordinary people like John and me get to stay in a place like this. A colonial mansion, ancestral estate. I'd call it a haunted house if I wanted to be romantic about it, but that might be asking too much of fate. Still, there's something strange about it. Why else would it be so cheap to rent? Why would it have stood empty for so long? John laughs at me, of course, but that's to be expected in marriage. John is practical, extremely so. He has no patience for faith, no tolerance for superstition. He laughs off anything that can't be touched or measured. John's a physician, and maybe, though I wouldn't admit it aloud, maybe that's part of why I don't get better. You see, he doesn't believe I'm sick. And what can you do when your own husband, a respected doctor, assures everyone that there's nothing wrong with you? Just a little nervous depression, a touch of hysteria. My brother, also a doctor, agrees. So I take the tonics, the phosphites, whatever they are. I go on walks, I take in the air, and I'm not allowed to write. Not until I'm better. Personally, I disagree. I think being productive, excited, engaged would do me good. But what can you do? I did try to write anyway, quietly. But it's exhausting to do it in secret, always hiding it. And John, he opposes it so strongly. Sometimes I wonder if I'd feel better with more freedom, more conversation, more stimulation. But John says thinking too much about my condition is the worst thing I could do. And I suppose maybe he's right. Anyway, let me talk about the house. It's beautiful. It stands alone, far back from the road, about 3 miles from the nearest village. It reminds me of old English estates, with hedges, locked gates, and even separate little buildings for the groundskeepers. The garden is stunning. Wide, shady paths bordered in boxwood, grape-covered arbors, old greenhouses long since broken. They say there was some legal trouble over inheritance, heirs and co-heirs fighting over it. Whatever the case, it's been empty for years. That ruins the ghost story angle. But still, something about this place feels strange. I even told John once, on a moonlit night, that it felt eerie. He just said it was a draft, and shut the window. I get unreasonably angry with John sometimes. I'm sure I never used to be so sensitive. I think it's this nervous condition. But John says if I give in to that, I'll lose proper self-control. So I try to contain it, at least in front of him. And that makes me very tired. I don't like our room a bit. I wanted the one downstairs, with roses at the window and old chintz curtains. But John wouldn't hear of it. He said there was only one window, no room for 2 beds, and no nearby room for him. He's very careful, loving, overly so. He hardly lets me stir without his direction. He's drawn up a schedule for me, for every hour of the day. He takes on all the care, and I feel guilty for not being more grateful. He said, we came here just for me, for fresh air, for rest. Your exercise depends on your strength, he told me, and your food on your appetite. But air, you can absorb that all the time. So we took the nursery, at the very top of the house. It's a large open room. It spans nearly the whole floor, windows on every wall, sunlight pouring in. It used to be a nursery, then a playroom and a gymnasium, I think. The windows are barred. There are rings in the walls. The paint and paper look as if a boys' school had used it. It is torn, peeled in long, jagged patches near my bed, scraped down on the far wall. I've never seen worse paper in my life. No wonder the children hated it. I would too, if I had to stay here long. There's John. I have to put this away. He hates when I write. We've been here 2 weeks now, and I haven't felt like writing since the first day. But today, I'm sitting by the window, up in this strange, airy nursery, and there's nothing stopping me from writing now, except maybe my strength. John's away most of the day. Sometimes at night, too, when his cases are serious. I'm glad mine isn't serious. Or at least, that's what he says. These nervous troubles really do weigh on me. John doesn't realize how much I suffer. He says there's no reason to suffer, and somehow that's enough for him. Of course, it's just nerves. Still, it makes me feel like such a burden. I wanted to be a comfort to John, a help, but now I feel like I just weigh him down. Even dressing and giving instructions, it all takes so much effort. Luckily, Mary's good with the baby. Such a dear baby. Though I can't seem to be around him long. It makes me so nervous. I suppose John's never been nervous in his life. He laughs at me about the wallpaper. At first, he meant to change it. But then he said I was letting it get the better of me. That nothing is worse for a nervous patient than to give in to silly fancies. He said that if we replace the wallpaper, next, I'd be bothered by the heavy bed. Then the barred windows, then the gate at the top of the stairs. You know, the place is doing you good, he said. And really, dear, I don't care to renovate the house for a 3 months rental. Then let's go downstairs, I said. There are such pretty rooms there. He pulled me close, laughed, called me a blessed little goose. Said he'd go down to the cellar if I wished, and have it whitewashed too. He's probably right. About the beds, the windows, the practicality of it all. It is a comfortable room. Airy, spacious. I'd be foolish to make things harder, just for a whim. And truthfully, I'm getting rather fond of it. All but that horrid wallpaper. From one window, I can see the garden. The arbors, deep with shade, old-fashioned flowers spilling over their borders, twisted, gnarly trees. From another, a glimpse of the bay, a small private wharf, and the lane that runs down to it, soft with light and quiet. Sometimes, I fancy I see people walking there. Figures, shadows, moving through the paths and hedges. But John says I mustn't give in to fancy. He reminds me that with my imagination and my condition, it's too easy to let my mind get carried away. He says I should fight it, use my will, stay grounded. So I try. Sometimes I think if I could just write a little more, I might feel better. It would let out some of the pressure, let my mind breathe. But I get tired so quickly when I try. And I have no one to talk to about my writing. No advice, no feedback, no companionship. John says when I'm well enough, we'll have Cousin Henry and Julia down to visit. But now, He says it would be like putting firecrackers in my pillowcase. Too stimulating. Too much. I just wish I could get well faster. But I mustn't dwell on that. This wallpaper, it looks like it knows what it's doing. A vicious influence. There's a spot where the pattern droops, like a broken neck, and two bulbous eyes staring back upside down. I get angry, really angry. The arrogance, the way they crawl across the walls. Upper, down, side to side, endless, absurd, unblinking. There's a place where the seams don't match. The eyes go up and down that split. It's one higher than the other. I've never seen such expression in something inanimate. Though, haven't we all seen faces in walls? As a child, I found whole stories in the furniture. The knobs on the bureau winked at me. One old chair always felt like a protector, a strong friend. The furniture here, it's no worse than mismatched. We brought it all up from downstairs. They must have cleared out the nursery things before it became a playroom. And the children, they left their mark. Torn wallpaper, scratched floorboards, splintered wood. Even the plaster is dug out in places. And this bed, heavy, gouged, anchored to the floor like it's been through war. But I don't mind any of it, except the paper. Here comes Jenny, John's sister. Such a sweet girl, so careful with me. I can't let her catch me writing. She believes, truly, that it's writing that made me ill. She's a perfect housekeeper, finds her joy in it. But I can write when she's out. I see her coming from far away. These windows overlook the road. A winding path through the trees. Beyond it, rolling fields, velvet meadows, towering elms. This wallpaper. It has a second pattern, a sub-pattern, in a different shade. Only visible when the light hits just right. And even then only barely. But where the sun strikes clearly, I can see something behind it. A shape. A sulking, formless figure. Lurking. There's Jenny on the stairs. Well, the 4th of July has come and gone. The house was full, just family. Mother, Nellie, the children. John thought it might do me good. I didn't lift a finger. Jenny handled everything. Still, it tired me. And now he says, if I don't improve, he'll send me to Weir Mitchell in the fall. But I don't want to go. I knew someone under his care once. She said he's just like John and my brother, only more so. And it's such a journey. I don't feel like doing anything anymore. It's not even worth the effort to turn my hand over. I'm fretful, so dreadfully querulous. I cry over nothing, and I cry most of the time. Not when John's here, not when anyone's watching, but when I'm alone. And I am alone a lot lately. John's kept in town with serious cases. And Jenny, sweet Jenny, she leaves me alone when I ask her to. So I walk in the garden a little, or down that beautiful lane. Sometimes I sit on the porch, under the roses. But most often, I lie down. Here. I'm starting to get fond of this room, in spite of the wallpaper. Maybe because of the wallpaper. It dwells in my mind. I lie here on this great immovable bed. I think it's nailed down. and I follow the pattern with my eyes for hours. It's like a kind of exercise, a mental gymnastics. I always start at the same spot, down in the far corner, where it's least disturbed. I tell myself, for the 1,000th time, I'll follow that ridiculous pattern to its conclusion. I know a bit about design, enough to know this paper follows no laws I've ever heard of. Not radiation, not repetition, not symmetry. It repeats, yes, but only in the printed breadths. Each one seems to stand alone, bloated curves and flourishes, waddling up and down like drunken Romanesque columns. But then they connect diagonally. The outlines run off in great slanting waves, like seaweed drifting in currents. And horizontally too, or it seems like it. I exhaust myself trying to figure out the direction of it all. They even used a horizontal breadth for a frieze, and it makes the whole thing worse. There's one end of the room where the paper is almost untouched. When the sun hits it just right, low across the room, it almost seems like it radiates from a center. All the grotesques spinning outward like a terrible whirlpool. It makes me so tired just to follow it. Maybe I'll nap for a while. I don't know why I'm writing this. I don't want to. I don't feel able. And I know John would think it absurd. But I must say what I feel and think in some way. It is such a relief. But the effort is getting to be greater than the relief. Half the time now I'm awfully lazy and lie down ever so much. John says I shouldn't lose my strength, so he gives me cod liver oil, all kinds of tonics, ale, wine, and rare meat. Dear John, he loves me deeply and hates seeing me sick. I tried to have a real, honest conversation with him the other day. Told him I wished he'd let me go visit Cousin Henry and Julia. But he said I wasn't strong enough to go, and I couldn't even finish my point without crying. It's getting hard to think clearly. Just nerves, I guess. And dear John gathered me up in his arms and just carried me upstairs and laid me on the bed and sat by me and read to me till it tired my head. He told me I'm his everything, that I have to take care of myself for his sake, and that only I can fix this. I need to use my willpower and self-control and stop giving in to silly thoughts. One comfort is that the baby is happy and healthy, and not in this room with the horrible wallpaper. If we hadn't taken it, that poor child would have been stuck in here. I wouldn't let my child, so sensitive and impressionable, stay in this room for anything. I never thought of that before, but maybe John was right to keep me up here. I can handle it better than a baby could. I don't mention the wallpaper anymore. Not to them. I'm too smart for that now. But I still watch it. Always. There are things in that paper that nobody knows, but me, or ever will. Behind that outside pattern, the dim shapes get clearer every day. It's always the same shape, just multiplied. Like a woman bent down, creeping behind that pattern. I don't like it. I wish John would take me away from here. It's so hard to talk to him about what I'm going through. He's so smart, and he loves me. But I tried again last night. It was moonlight. The moon shines in all around, just like the sun. I hate to see it sometimes. It creeps so slowly and always comes in by one window or another. John was asleep. I didn't want to wake him, so I watched the moonlight move across the wallpaper. And I started feeling uneasy. That faint figure behind the pattern, it looked like she was shaking it, like she was trying to get out. I got up quietly and went to feel the wall to see if it really moved. When I came back, John was awake. "What is it, little girl?" he said. "Don't go walking about like that. You'll get cold." I thought it was a good time to talk, so I told him I wasn't getting better here and that I wanted to leave. "Darling," he said, "our lease is up in 3 weeks. I don't see how we can leave before that. The house isn't ready yet, and I can't leave town. If you were in danger, of course I'd take you. But you're getting better, whether you see it or not. I'm a doctor, and I know. You've gained weight. Your appetite's improved. I'm less worried now." "I don't weigh any more," I said, "not even as much. And sure, maybe I eat better in the evening when you're here, but in the mornings, when you're gone, I barely eat at all." "Bless your little heart," he said, hugging me. "You can be as sick as you want. But let's sleep now and talk more in the morning." "And you won't take me away?" I asked. "How can I, love? Just 3 more weeks. Then we'll take a short trip while Jenny gets the house ready. You really are doing better." "Better in body, maybe," I started to say. But he sat up and looked at me with such a stern, disappointed face that I couldn't go on. "My love," he said, "for your sake, our child's sake, and mine, don't ever let that idea take hold. It's dangerous, seductive for someone like you. It's a false and foolish thought. Can't you trust me as your doctor?" So of course, I didn't bring it up again, and we went to sleep soon after. He thought I fell asleep first, but I didn't. I lay there for hours, wondering whether the front pattern and the back pattern of the wallpaper moved together, or separately. In the daylight, the design has no logic. It defies pattern. It's infuriating. The color is bad enough, ugly, unpredictable. But the pattern is worse. You think you've figured it out, then suddenly it flips on you. It's like it mocks you. It's like a nightmare. The outer design looks like some kind of fungus. Imagine a string of toadstools, knotted and curling and growing in endless loops. That's what it reminds me of. At least sometimes. But what's strangest is how it changes with the light. When the sun shines through the east window, that first sharp morning beam, the whole thing shifts. I watch for that ray every day. I can't help it. By moonlight, when the full moon is out, I wouldn't even recognize it. The whole pattern transforms. At night, in any kind of light, twilight, candles, lamps, but especially moonlight, it turns into bars. And the woman behind it becomes completely visible. I didn't understand what that dim shape was at first, but now I'm sure. It's a woman. During the day, she's quiet. I think the pattern holds her in place. It confuses her. It confuses me too. I stare at it for hours. John says all this lying down is good for me. He started making me rest after every meal. But it's a bad habit. I don't sleep. And I pretend I do. I don't tell them I'm awake. I lie still. I listen. I'm starting to be afraid of John. He's acting strange. And even Jenny gives me odd looks. Sometimes I wonder, just as a theory, what if it's the wallpaper itself? I've caught John looking at it when he thought I wasn't watching. I've come in suddenly with innocent excuses and seen him studying it. Jenny too. I saw her touching it once. She didn't know I was in the room. When I asked her quietly, really calmly, what she was doing, she spun around like I'd caught her stealing and snapped at me. Not with words, just this sharp, guilty look. She said the wallpaper stained everything. That she found yellow smudges on my clothes, on John's too, and wished we'd be more careful. She made it sound innocent, but I know she was studying that pattern. And I've decided no one's going to figure it out but me. Life is more interesting now. I have something to look forward to, something to watch. I eat better, I'm calmer. John's so happy to see me improving. He laughed the other day and said, I seem to be thriving despite the wallpaper. I just laughed it off. I'm not telling him the wallpaper is the reason. I can't risk him taking me away now. Just one more week. I think that'll be enough. I feel much better. I don't sleep much at night, too excited to see what happens next. But I sleep a lot during the day. In the daytime, it's harder. The paper grows new shapes constantly. New growths, new shades of yellow. I can't even count them all, though I've tried. It's the weirdest yellow. Not like buttercups or anything nice. More like dirty, rotting yellow. But it's not just the pattern. It's the smell. I noticed it as soon as we moved in. At first, it wasn't bad. The windows were open, the sun was bright, but we've had fog and rain for a week. And now the smell is everywhere. It drifts through the house. I find it in the dining room, the parlor, even on the stairs. It clings to me. It's in my hair. Even when I'm outside, if I turn quickly, I smell it. It's not bad at first. Subtle, but it lasts. It's the most persistent scent I've ever known. When it's damp, it's awful. I wake up and it's hovering over me. At first, I thought about burning the place down, just to get rid of it. But I'm used to it now. The only way I can describe it is, it smells yellow. There's a strange smudge near the baseboard, a long, low streak that goes around the whole room, behind all the furniture, except the bed. It's like something was rubbed along the wall over and over, round and around and around. It makes me dizzy. I've finally figured it out. That night, I've watched closely. And I know the truth now. The front pattern does move, because the woman behind it is shaking it. Sometimes I think there are lots of women. Other times, just one, creeping fast, shaking the pattern as she goes. In the bright spots, she stays still. In the dark corners, she grabs the bars and rattles them. She's always trying to break through. But the pattern is strangling. That's why it has so many heads. When women do get out, it twists their heads and turns their eyes wide. If those heads were hidden, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. I think that woman gets out during the day. I've seen her. From every window. I know it's the same woman because she's always crawling. Most women don't crawl in the daylight. She moves along the garden paths, hides in the grape arbors, creeping along the lane. When a carriage passes, she ducks under the vines. I don't blame her. It must be humiliating to be caught creeping in broad daylight. I lock the door when I creep. I don't do it at night. John would know something was wrong. And he's acting so strange now. I don't want to upset him. Besides, I don't want anyone freeing that woman but me. Sometimes I wonder, if I turned fast enough, could I catch her in every window at once? But no matter how fast I turn, I can only see out of one window at a time. She's faster than I am. Sometimes I see her out in the open fields, crawling as fast as the shadow of a cloud. If only I could peel off that top pattern and get to the one underneath. I'm going to try. Little by little, I've discovered something else, but I'm not telling anyone. Not this time. You can't trust people too much. There are only 2 days left to tear off this wallpaper. And I think John's starting to notice. He gives me this look. I don't like it. I overheard him asking Jenny all kinds of medical questions about me. She told him I sleep a lot during the day, which is true. But he also knows I don't sleep much at night, even if I pretend to. He acted sweet, kind, affectionate, but I see through it. He's been living under this wallpaper too, for 3 months. It only fascinates me, but I think it's getting to them. Today is the last day, and it's perfect. John's staying in town overnight. He won't be back until evening. Jenny tried to sleep in the room with me, sneaky thing, but I told her I'd sleep better alone. Because truth is, I wasn't alone at all. As soon as the moonlight came pouring in, and that woman behind the paper began to crawl and shake it, I ran over to help her. I pulled, and she shook. She shook, and I pulled. By morning, we had peeled away strips of it, as tall as me, covering half the room. And when the sunlight hit that twisted, laughing pattern, I swore to finish the job today. We leave tomorrow. They're already moving the furniture out, putting everything back. Jenny looked at the torn walls and gasped. I told her, laughing, that I ripped it out of spite, just to get back at the wallpaper. She laughed too, said she'd help if I wasn't too tired. That gave her away. She wanted me out of the room. It was obvious. But I am here, and no person touches this paper but me, not alive. I told her I was feeling calm, empty, and that I'd lie down and sleep as long as I could. Told her not to wake me for dinner. And now, she's gone. The servants are gone. The furniture's gone. All that's left is this nailed-down bed frame and the sagging canvas mattress we found when we arrived. We're sleeping downstairs tonight, leaving by boat in the morning. Honestly, I like the room now that it's bare again. I can only imagine how wild those children must have been in here. This bed is chewed up, gnawed at the edges. But I've got work to do. I've locked the door, threw the key down into the front garden. I don't want to go out. And I don't want anyone to come in. Not until John gets here. I want to surprise him. I've got a rope in here. Even Jenny never found it. If that woman tries to get out again, I can tie her down. Though I forgot how hard it is to reach anything without a stool. This bed won't budge. I pushed and pulled until I hurt myself. got so frustrated I actually bit the corner. It hurt my teeth. I ripped off every scrap I could reach. The pattern clings tight, like it's fighting back. All those strangled heads, twisted eyes, those fungal shapes. They laugh at me. It's infuriating. I feel like doing something drastic. Jumping out the window would be good exercise, but the bars are solid. Not that I'd actually do it. Of course not. That would be inappropriate. Misunderstood. I don't even like looking out there anymore. Too many of those women creeping around. I wonder if they all come out of that wallpaper as I did. Well, I'm not leaving. I'm tied down, secured with my hidden rope. You won't catch me out on the road like that. When night falls, I guess I'll have to squeeze back behind the pattern again. But for now, it's so nice being out here in the open, crawling around this big room. I don't want to go outside. I won't, even if Jenny begs me. Outside, you have to crawl on the ground. Everything's green. But in here, it's yellow and smooth and perfect. My shoulder fits exactly in that smudged path along the wall. I can crawl and never lose my way. Wait. That's John. He's at the door. It's no use, young man. You can't come in. Now he's shouting for an axe. It would be such a waste to break down that beautiful door. John, dear, the key is by the front steps, under a plantain leaf. A few moments of silence. Then he said, very quietly indeed, "Open the door, my darling." I said it again, softly, slowly, then again, and again, until he had no choice but to go look. Of course, he found it, and he came back. He stepped inside and froze. What the hell is going on? I kept crawling, same slow circle. I finally got out, in spite of you and Jane. I've ripped most of the paper off, so you can't put me back. He stood there, wide-eyed, silent. Then he dropped. Right in my path, so every time I circle the room now, I have to creep right over him.